What's happening, beautiful people? Happy Love Day 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I know it's that time. It's either one of those days where you're either not going to be watching this stream because you might be a little busy, have your hands full, hopefully in a literal and figurative sense, but this is also a day that I like to stream. I like to stream actually on all holidays because there's a lot of people who are just chilling, a lot of people who just want some normalcy, a sense of normalcy in the world when we're being dictated to about how to feel. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Valentine's Day. I like Valentine's Day. I like Christmas. I like all these holidays. But in the back of my mind, I would always be like dreading the holidays, especially when I was growing up, because I knew that my favorite creators weren't going to be posting. I knew that all my favorites were going to take a week off, especially at Christmas. So yeah, I figured I'd jump in, show you guys I'm here. And we're wearing the replacement headphones today. I feel like these headphones are just not well set to like the shape of my head. This is really like, I think the hairline and the headphones are just clashing in a crazy way right now. But we move, ladies and gentlemen. We move. What's cracking, everybody? What's cracking, JD? So today we're going to look at a couple things. We're going to kick it off by watching part 2 of the Podcast Kid documentary. So the Podcast Kid, obviously, this was the 3-part docu-series, which I participated in around the age of 16. We watched part 1 before, which was where I interviewed Gene Simmons. We're going to watch part 2 now. So here is a little background for part 2. We'll kick the stream off looking at this. This actually follows my interaction with Rick Bronson, who is a comedy club owner, if anybody's ever heard of him. How I actually started working for Rick Bronson, who is a big-time owner. He has clubs in the Mall of America. He has clubs in Canada. So basically at this time, I was trying to move into the comedy space. I was trying to move into that space and really graduate into the comedy scene, not only as an interviewer, but at the time, my goal was also to be a comedian. Now, I've since changed that goal since this documentary was made. We're going to talk about all these things and give a little bit of a rundown as to what the story is here. But let's watch this. And I'll try not to die of cringe while I watch this. I think it's always really tough to watch footage of yourself. Yeah, that's me. That's me, JD. So let's watch. Oh, shit, my bad.
So about a month ago, I did a podcast with Rick Bronson. Rick is the owner of the comic strip, and
I can't get over the voice still, bro. I cannot get over the voice. This is ridiculous.
Various other clubs worldwide in huge malls and shopping centers and stuff. And, as he says, he has to have large clubs and large shopping centers to compensate for other things, but that's his joke. But yeah, Rick is a comedian. He's a magician.
Bro, what? Throws in another man's joke.
He's a super nice guy. And when I first met him to do the podcast, he obviously saw something in me that he was looking for.
Like the stream.
I had in the back of my mind, I would love to do a live podcast, maybe just once at the comic strip. And it turns out after we do the podcast, he actually offered it to me. And I was shocked. So then recently I went...
So for context, by the way, when I'm talking about a live podcast, what happened was I interviewed this guy once who owned the club. After I interviewed him, he started talking to me about developing this idea to do a live podcast at the comedy club. So this is the process of trying to get that launched. And it was an interesting time, man, because again, I don't know what possessed me other than just being young and kind of clueless to try to jump into the comedy space at this time, because I had no material. That was the main thing. As you're going to see in this clip, I had no material. I was trying to jump into a performance space. I was trying to get myself on stage, but I had no jokes. That's why when I watch this now, I'm confused.
To meet him again. This is our second time meeting, and that was 3 days ago, and here we are 3 days later, and we're doing the first show. I'm incredibly nervous, but I know not doing it isn't an option. It's going to be fantastic.
Bro just ate a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
The last time I'm
almost as fat here as I am now. God damn it.
The last
need
time
to
I
stop.
saw you, you were here for an event, but you approached me after the show, and you said it was the first time we had met, I believe.
Yeah.
And you asked me how to go about getting on stage.
Yeah.
And I asked how old you were, right? How old are you?
I actually just turned 16.
Just turned 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best thing about having a live podcast for me,
You know you're young when you say just turned, by the way. Like, nobody under the age of, or over the age of, I would say 18, is ever going to tell you either the age they're about to turn or the age they just left. Nobody's ever going to add those details.
the thing about having a live podcast for me is going to be getting into the comedy scene. I spend as much time as I can at the comedy club, and I love to, be involved, be part of that world. So if I'm on
And that's true, by the way. There's me walking in. I was the weird kid in the back who would come in and try to watch the comedy shows at this time. So really all I was, and it wasn't even a weird kid. Like, there's a lot of people who sort of show up to the clubs and they try to build rapport. So really what you have to do in the world of comedy is you start off at the base level. You start as a customer. Unless you're going to go for the open mic, you start as a customer. So you start going to the clubs, you start getting to know the waitresses, getting to know the girl at the box office, getting to know anybody who works there and is really part of the staff. And you really just show face. You get there, you show face, and you show up. That's the stage that I was sort of in. But the thing is, too, that doing the interviews always gave me more direct links to actually reach out to people. So, for example, I did start at the base level just going to shows, like I said. But then when I actually was able to bridge the gap between myself and the owner, I did it through doing my podcast. I did it through doing my shows. And that, to me, my friends, is one of the biggest pieces of game. If I was to drop advice or drop game on like the content space or how to network or how to use creating content to your advantage, I would say use it to like bridge the gap between you and where you're trying to go. So if you're trying to meet with somebody, and this is crazy, I shouldn't even be telling anybody this. Hang on a second. Let me reconsider, because I'm really dropping major game right now, but I'm also kind of at a point where I'm sick of the gatekeepers, bro. I'm kind of like, fuck a gatekeeper. Like, dude, if I'm going to have any sort of presence in this game, I want my presence to be that of a person who opens doors for others. So that being said, I will share with you what I was initially about to say. You use your position to bridge the gap to get you where you need to go. So for example, I start as a customer. I walk in the building, I'm a nobody. Slowly through building relationships, I pitch to them that I have a podcast, that I have a forum for people to come on and tell their stories and promote themselves. So through doing the interview, I actually get a direct meeting with the owner. Because think about it. If I walk in there and I say, I want a sit-down meeting with the owner of this club, they're going to look at me and say, okay, and? Like, who gives a shit? They're not going to give me anything in that scenario. If I walk in and I say, I have a platform, I have a podcast, I have invested in this platform, I can bring value to you, all I need is to sit down with the owner. I'm still getting the same thing. I'm getting the same thing. But the way it's positioned to that party, to that person, the person you're asking, is completely different. And it's also about bringing value, right? When you try to just get a meeting with somebody, what's in it for them? If you're trying to get a meeting with somebody, there's sort of a pretense that they have something that you are after. So in that scenario, what is the advantage for somebody to take a meeting with a random person? There's no advantage. There's no incentive. So it's about using your position to bridge the gap, but also adding value to what somebody else is doing. This is a fucking master class. This is a master class on networking.
on stage, that might be opening hosting possibilities, and then maybe 5-minute guest spots at separate shows. And then you can turn it into, maybe I get my own opening act for a big comic, and then next thing you know, I'll be on stage. It's a lot different though than doing it here, because when I'm here, I record on this mic and I post a podcast and I see 20,000 people have heard it. It's really exciting, but it doesn't faze me that 20,000 people are going to hear it. But then when I imagine 20,000 people in a room watching me do a podcast, my head explodes.
And that's exactly it, my friends. See, I should have taken the hint from the beginning. And this is something that it took me a long time to actually learn. And what I learned is this, my friends. I only have the desire to create and share things for the sake of actually just creating and sharing them. What I don't desire is like in-person attention. So I love putting out a video that gets 1 million views. I'm great. That makes me super happy. I want as many people in the world as possible to see my videos, but not because I want necessarily the attention. It's more so fueled by the fact that I want them to get something out of it. And like I get a real kick out of making something that other people like. That's really where it ends for me. I'm not craving external validation from people to the degree that a comedian is. Because a comedian, not only do they want you to enjoy and consume their work, they actually want to sit down and watch you consume it and track moment to moment your reaction to their creative output. I have zero desire to do that. I really don't care how people feel. I mean, I do care. I hope people like what I do. But I'm not invested in it to the point where I want to look at everybody in a room and see their reaction to what I do. If anything, I'm actually super uncomfortable if I was to watch somebody take in my content. I don't like, I'll be with my girl sometimes. She'll be like, I'll be talking about a video I just made. She'll be like, well, let me watch it. I didn't see this one. Let me put it on. I'll say, don't put it on. I don't want to watch my own work. But it's not even that. I don't want to take in what people feel about my work to that degree in person, because you really need to be seeking a special level of validation from other people to be in that scenario. Like, comedians are literally mentally ill. Like, I'm crazy as fuck. I'm certifiable, but comedians like make me look sane. Like, comedians literally are the most insane group of people you will ever meet. They make the eccentric creatives like me look like scholars.
But when I see that 300 people have heard a podcast that I did on this just solo, that doesn't matter. But if it's in person,
certifiable,
it's a lot different. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here.
It's crazy.
But I know in my heart of hearts that no matter how anxious I am, I do have a diagnosed anxiety disorder.
Diagnosed!
I get so anxious and so scared before I do all of this.
Boy, shut up! Bro, if I was my parents, I would have literally slapped me in the face. Shut the fuck up, bro. I have anxiety and I don't know, I'm nervous, but shut the fuck up. Got a new regime around here. I'm sick of this soft parenting, bro. Soft parenting. I had to undo soft parenting. And trust me, my parents did the best fucking job. They're the best parents in the goddamn world. It's not them. It's the society we're in with this softness. Look how soft I was. I mean, this is unbelievable. I had to unsoften. I had to un-Canadian myself. I had to unnice myself. I had to unnice myself because guess what? You get taken advantage of. You get taken advantage of. You get rolled over. You get bowled over. Very dangerous.
This is the most
dangerous in this
that
business.
For some reason, I put myself through this torture on a weekly basis because I
Torture.
love doing it. And I know it's going to be fantastic.
But you and I had similar paths in the way that you started in entertainment at 10 with the podcast.
Yeah.
I started in entertainment.
Bro, I've been looking for this footage everywhere. This is my first interview ever, guys. 10 years old, backstage, Halifax, Nova Scotia. This is really something to look at here. And the microphone I'm using here, by the way, is a Rock Band microphone for the game. This was literally a Rock Band microphone with one of my mother's stockings taped onto the top so that it could act as a wind filter. When I tell you guys I've really been doing this shit, let me tell you something. I've really been doing this shit. On fucking God, I've been doing this shit. Like, this is what I'm trying to talk about right now. This is it.
Came in at 12 as a magician.
Oh,
That's
yeah, I
crazy
did
to
magic
see.
too.
Did you?
I did.
All right, we're both super geeks. Awesome.
Yeah. I was in the Junior Magic Club in Calgary. I used to live in Calgary.
Shout out the Junior Magic Club. Oh my God. Oh my God. I gotta pull those videos.
I did it for about a year. It was once
Yo!
a month, and I ended up performing at the Stampede.
They have all the clips I've been looking for in this. I totally forgot about this, bro.
Huge Magic fan.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Really, huh?
I'm going to be doing this with comedian Donnell Rawlings. He's a comedian. He's been on Chappelle's show. He's filming for MTV right now. Wildly successful comedian and actor. It's going to be my first time meeting him today. And here's the thing with this. There could be
Who the fuck picked that shot to put in there?
7 or 8 people in the club, or there could be 200 to 300 people in the club. I don't know, because they're saying anybody with a ticket for tonight for this 350-seat venue, come early for a live podcast. There's no knowing how many people are going to be there. So going into this, I would have loved to see how many seats are sold, but it's either going to be sold out, medium, or a couple people. You never know. So it has been a dream for me to perform at the comic strip since I've moved here, or at any comedy club. So either way, I'm sure it's going to go well.
You're doing something you love.
It's interesting, man. Like, I do love a lot of things about stand-up comedy, but I think at this age I was a little bit confused because I felt like you had to do stand-up comedy to become a successful content creator in my space. At the time, the only successful podcasters outside of maybe This American Life, like one of the first OG storytelling podcasts, there was a couple of those, like NPR shows, PBS, and all those networks, but the main people who were successful in podcasting at this time were stand-up comedians. If anything, they mostly used podcasting as a means to an end to promote their comedy. So stand-up comedy and podcasting at this time, this was probably like 2014. They were intertwined, man. Like, comedy and podcasting were, and they always have been intertwined, but at this point especially. Basically, every successful podcaster was a stand-up comedian. So to me, it was like, okay, well, this is, and it makes sense. Like, again, this is something I may still do, but I think you have to be very rational about what you set out to do, and you have to do it at the right time. And that is the biggest lesson I learned through my experience with considering trying comedy. And this is why I want to show this, bro. Like, I literally tried to make a comedy career and just decided this isn't what I wanted to do. And I want to show, I want to show that you can do that. I want to show that you can change your mind. I want to show that you can really think in one moment that you have it all figured out, and then it turns out you don't. And also that there's something on the other side of that, bro. There's so much on the other side of that. You just got to take your time, and you got to find what is drawn to you as much as you are drawn to it. That to me is the secret to success. You need to be just as drawn to that thing that works for you, and it needs to work for you just as well. Otherwise, it's not going to work. There's lots of things I would love to do that are not drawn to me. I would love to play basketball. I think it'd be awesome to be a ball player. I would love to, be a bodybuilder. Maybe I could potentially do that. I'm already pretty swole. The point is this. When you really are going to find success is when what you love loves you back just as much. Ooh, that's a bar. Ooh, that's a bar. Unfortunately, that was a bar.
People that are driving to their cubicles every day, they don't all love what they're doing. They're shepherds and they're sheep, and 10% are shepherds and 90% are sheep.
It's a lot.
And it's a lot more fun, I think, when you're a shepherd.
I can do
Agree with
this.
that.
I'm just really damn nervous about it. My nerves are going crazy. And like I say, it's about the unexpected. Not knowing how it's going to go is the first.
Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you. Happy Valentine's.
My nerves is either through podcast.
Oh, shit. Am I going to play the drums in here? You guys tell me if I can play drums good or not. I always thought I was okay, but I'm not sure how good I am.
About it. My nerves are going crazy. And like I say, it's about the unexpected. Not knowing how it's going to go is the first one. The main way I like to deal with my nerves is either through podcasting or playing the drums. So
Just
I
got
like to
shit
say
sitting
that
around.
each one of these represents one of my nerves, including the bass drum down here. So this is, if my nerves were a thing, this is what I would do to my nerves.
I was back in my Black Sabbath days. That's like Black Sabbath written all over it right there. I mean, not as good. It's like a shitty version.
I just want to say, as I said, I appreciate you bringing me.
Maybe I'm better at doing drums than I am at doing comedy.
I just want to say, as I said, I appreciate you bringing me on stage, bringing me to the club. Ever since I was a little kid, I would walk past here and be like, what the hell is this? Why is there such a long hallway? Is this a store? And, now I'm in here hanging out. So I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. And it's, you know what? And I appreciate the fact that you're pursuing this, to see someone like yourself who's taking the initiative, that has the drive, that has the motivation to push yourself to do something, to find a passion and to pursue it is really noble, because it doesn't happen enough. So it's nice to see that there's people that are using the internet and the computer to push ahead through entertainment and by finding a voice and by being a voice, which I think is really a testament to you, and kudos, job well done, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Shout out Rick Bronson, man. Round of applause for Rick. That kind of made me a little like almost emotional type of shit. I don't know why. That really just hit me. But it kind of took me right back to that moment. I mean, I do remember that. I remember being welcomed with open arms at this comedy club. I remember them really wanting to see me win. Like that's kind of what hits me here, is like I had nothing going on. Like I was doing interviews and stuff, but that was it. And I just had like dreams of just being a big personality in the entertainment space. And I feel like people just liked that and they wanted to see me win. That's why it really touches me. I wasn't doing a whole lot for them. They were doing it for me, and they were doing it from a very selfless place, which really is touching to me. Yeah, I mean, let's just keep watching.
Which I think is really a testament to...
I think the other thing, too, is that 2014, it's like, 11 years ago, there was a lot less people trying to do what I do. Like, there was a lot less people doing content. There was a lot less people doing podcasts. TikTok did not exist. I don't think YouTube Shorts YouTube Shorts didn't exist. The space was completely different. So to see people, like, you really had to be slugging it out in person still at this point. You had to be showing up, knocking on doors. Now you could have a whole career from home. I could have a whole fucking career, interview the biggest celebrities on the planet, and never leave my house. That is not how it used to be back then. So I think that's why they showed me love, man. They showed me love.
To you, and kudos, job well done, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure how many people are going to show up. That's a concern. It's a concern if there's too little, and a concern if there's too many. It feels really cool. There's been legends on the stage, like David Alan Grier, Bert Kreischer, Greg Fitzsimmons, all these
Bert
incredible
Kreischer.
comics.
Legends like Bert Kreischer. Come on, bro. Stop the cap.
Been up here, and here I am sitting here about to do a live podcast with another comedic legend, Donnell Rawlings. So it's gonna be
Donnell.
crazy. Even just being up here without an audience is awesome, and then add the audience, some lights and a comic, and you've got yourself a show. So I'll reintroduce myself, Cassius. Nice to meet you, man.
What's up, brother?
I appreciate you taking the time to come in. I love your appearances on radio, and the ashy I'm in love with the lotion. Good stuff, man. I love it.
Oh, come on, bro. That is such a fucking diabolical thing to say to a celebrity. That is just unhinged. Just imagine walking up to a celebrity and just telling them you're a fan of the most successful thing they're known for. That's the equivalent of going up to Daniel Radcliffe, shaking his hand, and being like, that Harry Potter, I'm a wizard, Harry, all that stuff. I like that. That's just cool. I like that. I like that Harry Potter stuff that you do. Who the fuck was training me how to talk to these people? And I thank God that Donnell was patient. Donnell was patient. I'm not going to try. The guy who made this video is a fucking asshole, first of all. If you're watching this, I don't even care. So he was really disrespectful to Donnell. I did not realize he was being disrespectful to Donnell because I was too fresh and green in the business. But this dude was like, he went to put the microphone on Donnell, and he like went to reach his hand under Donnell's shirt himself. to put it on. And Donnell was like, whoa, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I've been doing this for a little while. He's like, I know how to put a microphone on. Just things like that. So, you know, I appreciate Donnell. Dude spent like 3 hours with me. Just doing the podcast, doing the documentary, doing the reaction, doing this and that. And again, bro, like, you would never really put yourself in these scenarios unless you were just too young to know better. That's why I thank God that I learned all these things the hard way. You see me with these guys now. This would never occur. Somebody fucking does that shit to a guest that I'm interviewing, a guest on my show, you're fired immediately. If anybody ever with me disrespected one of my guests, you are fucking fired. I will literally take your press credentials. I've done it. I've taken people's press credentials. I've kicked people off of sites, and you have to. I was just having this conversation today. You got to fire people. We need to bring back firing people. And if I do a bad job, I should be fired. People are too fucking comfortable out here.
Stuff, man. I love it. So, I was just thinking we could talk about kind of your past in acting and comedy.
You're
and
fired.
how you got started and then
How'd you get
Chappelle's
started?
show. Me? I
You're
got started.
like 14. You must know somebody in the business, man.
No, I don't. Well, now I know Rick.
This dude went from a paper route to his own podcast. That's gangster right there.
I was a dishwasher. Yeah, I started when I was 10 with the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. So coming up on 7 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So.
Bro, this dude thought I was an industry plant, and it makes so much sense. This dude really thought I was like a fucking agent from the Illuminati. And I have been accused of that, by the way. I've definitely been... People have thought that I know people in the business. People have thought that I have a bunch of money somehow, which I definitely would be dressing better if I had money. But yeah, I mean, it actually makes sense that somebody might think that. I wish that was the case, by the way. I'm absolutely flattered. I mean, goddamn, if I knew somebody in the business or I had a bunch of money, I would be using that shit to my advantage. 1,000%.
I've done a lot of interviews here. I just moved here, so I live around the corner from the club. And I love comedy, so it's just perfect.
Good stuff. Waiting for that crowd to come in.
Wait for the crowd to come in. And even if there's nobody, honestly, it's
all good, whatever.
We'll just record.
So they did this advertisement by the way of it. Well, they set us up to do a live podcast so that anybody who had tickets to Donnell's show that night could come in and watch. And they didn't advertise it anywhere. I think they did one post on Facebook. So nobody knew this was happening. That's the other thing. Nobody knew this was happening. So there was no chance of any audience coming in. I think we had one guy. Maybe one guy.
You know? I'm honored to have you, so. What's up, everybody?
So
Welcome to the Cassius Morris Show. I'm your host. Today we're here with special guest.
Donnell Rollins, a.k.a. Ash Larry, a.k.a. Taking the Face, a.k.a. We Out Here, a.k.a. Go for Killer, a.k.a. Coyotes Don't Stand a Chance, a.k.a. Pierogies in Your Face all day, every day. Woo!
So we're here with everybody,
Exactly.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like the Wu-Tang of comedy.
That's right.
I'm like the Wu-Tang of myself. I got like a million names.
Thank you for taking the time to come on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So how about we set up what was supposed to happen here today? So this was supposed to be the first live Cassius Morris show.
No, this is not what I heard on Instagram and on Twitter. On Twitter and Instagram, it said, yo, make sure you get there early. This shit is going to be off the chain. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? All hot girls get in before like a certain time.
That'd be good.
And then you told me that I only can have one invited guest. And if she has a +1, she's better be a plus size. And then we look around and
Facts.
I don't know. I don't know what happens, huh?
I don't see any plus sizes.
I know. I don't see no sizes out here, but this is what we do.
Extra small.
This is the theater of the mind, bitches.
That's right.
I want you guys to look at that one more fucking time. I want everybody, every single fucking human being who watches this video, I want you to take that visual in. And I want you to be just as dedicated to what you do when your audience looks like this, bro. No bullshit. No bullshit. When you've done shows to 0 people, when you've been booed off the fucking stage, and you still do it, if I could be remembered for one thing, I would hope it's that. I would like it to be that. Like this is what matters to me, bro. This is why I want to show this fucking documentary.
I know. I don't see no sizes out here, but this is what we do.
Extra small.
This is the theater of the mind, bitches.
That's right. And you mentioned a guest set. Were you serious?
Yeah.
You were serious. Now, what do you recommend for me for a first time doing?
He was gonna let me do comedy. That a guest set. Like he was actually gonna let me do a comedy to that sold out room.
Comedy.
A person for the first time doing comedy, make sure that you first off don't take it too serious. And a lot of times when people start for the first time, they have a set list. They want to do these jokes. They want to do that joke. We got to realize that things will come to you. And the most important part is just to have fun and don't take it too serious.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you'll learn real fast.
That's good advice.
You learn by the crowd's reaction. You'll learn by the timing you establish with them, but you'll learn. Best way to learn is to fail. The worst thing that can happen is they don't like you, but if that's going to distract you from what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. You know, but you got to get experience for somewhere. People think that there's a rule to it. People are like, what do I need to do? What advice do you give you? Can you give me? And I'm like, it's just all experience.
Yeah.
The more time you go up, you keep teaching yourself. And like what I said earlier, I wasn't trying to be discouraged when I said you learn from failures, but every time something bad happens, you need to learn from that and take it to the next step. Throughout your journey of comedy, everything is a learning experience to the next step. So all you're doing is just building experiences. You're just building experiences. You're just building experiences till you have so many experiences under your belt that there's not a situation that you're not ready for.
Okay.
Donnell Rawlings, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like that deserves some applause as well. That deserves a round of applause. It's so funny, too, going back and watching these videos. I take just as much out of this advice today as I did then. Actually, I probably take more out of it because I'm able to connect the dots. But, guys, I want you to... This is not about me. This is really what I want you guys to take away from this stream. This is not about me watching my old highlights and talking about it. This is about showing you guys the process. It's one thing to talk about the process. It's one thing to talk about what you should do or talk about what you did. It's another thing to show the process and to really break that down, bro. And I want you guys to apply this to everything that you do. This is not about me. This is not about comedy even. This has nothing to do with everything that appears to be on the surface. Take this and apply it. You can apply this to so many different things, whether it's your work, whether it's your life, whether it's your career path, whether it's your hobby, whether it's just a passion. That's what you got to do, bro. Just start doing something and just like suck at it as quickly as possible because you're going to suck. You're going to suck bad. So you better get that part out of the way so you can get somewhere.
You know,
I like
and
that.
It's better to fail. Like that's the truth. The faster you fail, the faster and harder you fail, the better your life will be. The better your life will be. Because imagine if I was learning these lessons now. If I was fucking 27, 26, I don't even know how old I am. Fucking learning this, dude. It would be a very painful experience.
mix some jokes in there with it, and you'll be good.
No, I love it, and I don't feel that it was discouraging to say, from failure, because it's like I've learned a lot from listening to all the podcasts with the comics who host them, because they say, I went on and the crowd didn't dig me the first 10 times.
Yeah, but you don't even need to concern yourself with that anymore. It's time for you to do it.
You believe it?
I don't believe it. I believe that it's something you want to do. I don't believe because it's not proven to me. What I'm saying is,
That's real as hell. That's real as hell. Like this is really an interesting thing, man, because like this guy was really, he was given his time in a very gracious manner. Usually comedians, when you interview them, they try to bullshit and they try to avoid being serious. This is real.
and is, if you're passionate about it,
Mm-hmm.
if it's something you really want to do, don't wait. You're at a good place. You're 16. Obviously, you're doing something right. You got your podcast. People like you. Take advantage of it now. Everybody, what they want to do is like, I got to get my set together. I got to get this perfect set. You're never going to have a perfect set. You got to get the courage to go up there and try, and then you just build on it.
Well, I appreciate you doing the show. Thank you very much. Lots of inspiring words.
I just want to say, It's my first time. What's the name of the podcast?
The Cassius Morris Show.
The Cassius Morris Show. It is new, but with everything, things start new and they get good real fast. This is a guy to listen to and watch for. I wish you luck, success. 1.
Thank you. Perfect, man.
Wow, man. That's amazing. You know what would be sick? If we could get Donnell Rawlings back for an interview now and talk about all this with him. I feel like that would be fucking incredible, dude. 11 years later. And I would like to think that I've made him pretty proud. I mean, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. That's pretty decent work. I mean, you know, I think it would be fair to say we went from 0 to almost 100. We're doing numbers. We're doing international media outlets. We're getting millions of views. I mean, I think we're doing okay. So I definitely give a huge shout out to Donnell Rawlings, bro. Thank you, Double A. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think the podcast, it's got potential to be something great. You know, with anything, when you first start off, you have some bumps, you have some speed bumps you go over them. You challenge yourself to get better, but I think that, I think Cash is a great host. He's engaging. He's got a great personality, and I think he has a bright future. And I think that, the more podcasts you do, I think it's going to get better, and I think it'll be one of the top podcasts out there. He's 16. By the time he gets 18, he's going to get his swag up. By the time he's 19, he's probably going to fuck every chick in Alberta. By the time he's 21, he'll probably have some type of drug habit. Hopefully it's marijuana.
Whoa, bro. What the fuck? Bro predicted my future. He said what?
It's marijuana. You can come and go with that. But at the end of the podcast out there, he's 16. By the time he gets 18, he's going to get his swag up. By the time he's 19, he's probably going to fuck every chick in Alberta.
When do I get my swag up, by the way? Is that going to be happening soon? I think I'm still waiting for the swag part.
By the time he's 21, he'll probably have some type of drug habit. Hopefully it's marijuana. You can come and go with that. But at the end of the day, I think that he's on the track to being a successful kid. He's going to win.
The first live podcast was interesting because I was really nervous coming in, expecting there to be a lot of people, but there was nobody, literally nobody except for me and Donnell. That was awfully interesting, but listen, I mean, it's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. When you're doing a live show like this where there's no set time and it's unpredictable, that's just the way it happens sometimes. It was still good practice because my first time I may have cracked under the pressure of having a huge audience. But since I got to go through the motions of doing it live, just except with no audience, it was a lot better. So I think that next time I'll be more prepared, and I did get the offer to go on stage to do a guest spot today, but it wasn't going to work out. So you never know. Soon I may be going on stage, and that will be something really to look forward to.
Hilarious, bro. The Podcast Kid, Part 2, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. There it is. I was waiting for the right time to break out the Part 2. And you know what? I think we found a pretty good time to do it. And like I said, guys, I really wanted to show you this so that it really is more about you than it is about me. Why I wanted to show this and why I want to go over this is just to really illustrate the fact that if you believe in something, you can make it work as long as you're in the right field, as long as you're doing the right thing. And also the opposite. If you're doing something that really isn't suited for you, that's okay. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. If it evolves into something else, that's okay. It's all okay. That is really the message I wanted to put out with this, man. It is good to try things. It's good to be good at things. It's good to be bad at things. It's just as good to fail as it is to succeed, because without one, the other doesn't exist. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. Without one, the other doesn't exist. You cannot have big wins without having big failures. And I still have big failures today. my friends. I'm not acting like I never have any issues today. And in due time, we will talk about that. We're gonna just keep cataloging the stories. So I appreciate you guys. Wanted to give a little bit of love here on Valentine's Day. I feel like it's a beautiful day to give a little bit of love, but that's what it's all about, man. And I really hope that you guys can be comfortable with that. And fuck what people tell you, by the way. I really, really want to stress that. Fuck what other people tell you. It doesn't matter what you think you should do. The only thing you should do, especially for creating, when it comes to creating, is just what you want. And I'm at that point now. I only do what I want now when it comes to making content. I will not do something just because it's trending. People were asking me last night, are you going to react to the new Drake album? When are you going live for the new Drake album? I'm not reacting to the Drake album because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting on here because these dudes who get on the mic and they react to music and like the new albums from the big artists, these guys are industry puppets. That's the only reason they're up there doing it. And, you know, they're jumping up and down doing backflips trying to entertain you. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to get on here and act like a fucking circus animal to entertain people so I can get a couple of clicks, or chasing the next trending topic so I can get a couple of clicks. I don't do that shit. I don't do that shit anymore, that's for sure. And that's from failing fast and failing hard. I don't give a fuck about what's trending because I'm trending. That's the attitude you should have, bro. You're the trend. I'm the fucking trend. So I don't care what's going on out there. I don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care anymore, bro. And I'm not just going to get on and talk about some shit that my heart is not really in just so I can pick up clicks. If I'm going to pick up clicks, it's going to be from talking to you like a fucking man, face to face, one-on-one. It's not even about like a man. It's about being real. That's what it's about. It's so over, guys. It is so over. I have reached a dangerous point of not giving a fuck. Because it's just like, it would almost be in my best interest to care more. But I'm just so done with going through the motions. I'm just going to do what the fuck I want now. And that's that. So that's where I'm at. And it's a fun time. It's a lot more fun doing what you want rather than doing what you think you should do. You know? Interesting times, guys. So I just wanted to hop on, like I say. Have a little one-on-one. I think this was a conversation that was much needed. At least for me, this is like a little bit of therapy as well. Very therapeutic to jump on and speak. And I don't really know where to leave this one. The story is far from finished, so there's really no conclusion. The only conclusion is stay tuned for part 3. We're going to dig up part 3. The guy who created these took them down. I don't know why. Again, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But we will find part 3 and we will watch it. Have a phenomenal night, guys. Take care.